Welcome to Notion in Motion. I'm Marai, a product designer and a Notion ambassador from Toronto. Today, I'm joined by two Notion obsessed students from Toronto Metropolitan University. We're talking productivity hacks, study systems, and how they use Notion to stay on top of their game. Let's dive in. Welcome again. As a first question of this episode, I would love to ask you that, can you share a bit about who you are, what you do, and where you're joining from to this episode? Vaasavi, maybe we can start with you.
Yes, hello. My name is Vaasavi. I'm a third year university student at Toronto Metropolitan University studying professional communication. I love all things events, communication, project management, and just knowing about how the industry works in a variety of sectors. I'm really passionate, like I mentioned, about project management and event management, and I love hosting events, spending time outdoors, and being a part of the student groups at TMU.
That's awesome. If anyone doesn't know, TMU is Toronto Metropolitan University, and summer in Toronto, it's summer in Toronto, so that's pretty good time to be outdoor. And how about Jillian?
Yeah, so my name's Leanne. I'm also a student at Toronto Metropolitan University. I'm doing a double minor actually, I'm a communications major, just like Vasavi. I'm doing a double minor in event management and communication design. On the side, I love doing social media. I work in PR right now, really into branding and organizing community events. Yeah.
Sounds great. So, how did you start using Notion, both of you? And what was your first impression of it?
I think I started using it, I want to say near the end of high school. Um, and I was really overwhelmed with juggling. I was a big bullet journal girl. I was creative in that way, but I didn't really like the whole structure of, using an agenda. I won't lie. So when I was really overwhelmed with juggling these courses and clubs and creative projects, I was kind of looking for an all-in-one workspace where I can just hold everything. So notes, calendars, plans, and just Notion clicked.
Sounds reasonable. How about you?
I started using Notion in like grade 10, grade 11 in high school, so kind of similar to Leanne. I was a social media assistant slash manager at a startup, and it was like a very small group. There was like five of us working there, and so instead of Google Docs and Google Slides and like Gmail and everything, we used Notion. So I was like forced to sort of learn about how Notion works, and I will admit, I was very intimidated at first. I was having I did not know how to use this, and then I had to meet with the team for just to learn about how Notion worked, but I grew to love it.
And given the fact now one of you is actually both of you are Notion Toronto, like people from Notion Toronto community. One of you is campus leader, one of you, fingers crossed, we're waiting for that. So that's pretty impressive that your passion started from high school and now you're actually contributing to the community, which is pretty cool. As students, I'm really curious that we kind of give the hint of it, but how do you use Notion for your school life? Like research, note taking, group projects, assignments, however you like to share. And if you have Notion pages to share on screen, feel free to do it. Sometimes it's easier to show than just explain it. And yeah, this is your spot now.
I started using Notion. And I use it a lot for assignment tracking and just like to make sure that I'm up to date on when my assignments are due, when my exams are, and sort of like inputting my syllabus and like my assignment instructions and everything and all my grades into Notion. Just so that it's all in one place. Because for me, if I have like a spreadsheet on like Google Drive and then I don't know, like a agenda in paper, it's just too much for me having like so many different resources and so many different places where things are stored. So I love having just like one communal area for that, and honestly, Notion is perfect for it.
Yeah, I'll second that. I use Notion to break down the whole complex assignments and keep track of deadlines. So for group projects, Vasavi and I have created shared workspaces with sections for, like our tasks or notes, just progress tracking. And for Notion Toronto community, we did just like this little template overview of some of our favorite tools. We did I believe, a grade tracker. We did an assignment tracker, and then just like a little hub for all of your course shells. So I thought that was pretty fun.
That's awesome. Are you sharing your screen now, right now, Wasabi?
Yeah, I can share mine.
Awesome. I think just, yeah, now it's there.
Okay, wonderful. Yeah, just like how Leanne was mentioning, we have a grade calculator that we shared with a lot of people just to make sure that you know what grades you're getting on different assignments, what your final grade is, and so that you can work backwards and make sure that you're getting certain grades in future exams and midterms to make sure that your GPA is staying high. Yeah, you can input your grades, the way and like what class it's in, and just like know your overall grades in a variety of classes. We also shared an assignment tracker. We love the different views and ways that you can look at things. So there's
Hmm.
a board view here, there's a database view on this side. And yeah, just like having these status ones, not started, done, in progress, just let you know how far along you are on certain assignments, and then obviously the due date, what class it's on, how many assignments you have for each class and like weekly tasks that you have. So just having everything in one place, I love that. And I know a lot of people who use Notion use it primarily for that.
Hmm. I love like how you just didn't create the databases, but also you use charts, bars to just like make it visualized. And it's as you said, like I can see all your tracks and all your progress in this page, and then like from there, you know where to go and where you came from. But an additional question, how did you feel about the formulas? Because some sometimes people have different feelings about formulas, so I
We
want to get
definitely
your.
had to do a lot of Googling that. So, yeah, it was a strange thing for sure.
But you accomplished.
True. We
That's
also, I don't remember if we added it in here. There is a Google Chrome widget called Notion Clipper,
mm-hmm.
and you use it to track. Oh, yeah, it's right there. So Notion Web Clipper. It's a really great widget. I definitely recommend it for a lot of students. If you ever run into trouble when you write an exam, or sorry, an essay or a paper, and you need to cite something and you need to collect every single URL, this is really good. It actually just adds the website right into the database so you can keep track of it. And it's all overall just really good, especially for us as like communication students. We're always citing something
Communicate.
or looking at media, so this is just really helpful.
That's awesome. Thanks for sharing that.
Of
Like both
course.
of them, both Notion Clipper and the tracker assignment tracker as well. Sounds great. Okay, so one of my question was kind of that like, have you built exam or assignment like preparation pages? But since we get the answer, we don't need to repeat that. That's perfect. Speaking of formulas, actually, again, I kind of get what you say, but I also wanted to make it broader that like, what was the notion struggle that you had while like from high school, and how did you overcome with it?
I think for me early on, I really struggled with over designing my pages and making them aesthetic before functional. And I think I overcame that by prioritizing, templates that focus on function first and then tweaking the design once I got the rhythm going. I'm
Hmm.
very selective on making things very simple and straight to the point for me using Notion. So I don't like a lot of the fluff anymore. I've actually streamlined it quite a bit.
Sounds great. I love that.
To me, it would be just like originally, I wasn't aware of Notion Marketplace and Notion templates, so I'd be creating everything by hand, like all the formula trackers, grade trackers, assignment trackers, grade calculators, like all of those, I'd be creating them by hand and like on a fresh new page. And as a beginner Notion user at the time, it was really hard for me to know which like, types of views to use or which types of things to input on different columns. So after I figured out Notion Notion Marketplace, I was able to, streamline that process and make sure that I was using the correct templates and templates that were actually useful for my like daily use.
That's actually a great point, especially with the databases, because that's one of the good parts about Notion that like databases are not the common way to use the databases. But that also brings to understand like is it table view, is it gallery view, which one is functional, as Leanne said, which one is like design
So
wise
many
better,
options. So
like
many.
it's it's a good like it's good to be spoiled, but also it's hard to choose and implement. And of course, like you need to build the muscle to make it right for your needs and for like for all the trackers basically. That's actually pretty cool. Thank you. Um, this is more like for your personal views. What would you add or remove? Because sometimes you don't have to add. Add or remove one thing about Notion. And why is that? That's a tough question.
Yeah.
Take your
Give me a
time.
second to like think about all the features.
One thing that comes to mind for me, and I think Vasavi can second this, I would really love to see better offline capabilities. Like, as someone who likes to work on the go, especially on transit between classes or while traveling, it would just be amazing to have more reliable access without needing Wi-Fi,
Especially given the fact.
especially in Toronto.
Exactly. That's just I was going to say, like TTC doesn't have internet and it's really hard sometimes. So I can hear you.
Hmm.
That's cool.
Yeah, honestly, I'd second that as well. As a commuter student, I am also consistently working on the go train, on the subway sometimes. So just having the ability to, update my database, so like see what assignments I have due next while not having access to Wi-Fi or any data could be a life-changing and like very workplace like it would really boost workplace like I'm blanking on the word but like motivation almost so
Hmm.
that you know that you can work on the go or that like the workday or even your assignments don't end when you're at school. You can keep that like flow going as you're getting home.
Totally, totally. I hear you. One of the things when I was thinking about this question for myself was Notion AI, for example. But then recently it became so much better. Now it's not like I was thinking to remove Notion AI because I wasn't using that much. But right now it's impossible to remove it. So
No, literally, AI is such a big tool. It's especially as students, like we face it constantly. So yeah.
that's true. Okay, last two questions. And the first one is think about the all Notion items, components. Smallest one, biggest one, regardless of that. What is the one feature that you cannot imagine your life without that? And why?
Honestly, for me, it would be databases. I love Notion databases. I use it for everything. I recently went on a trip with my best friend, and our whole travel itinerary was planned with Notion databases. And it's just such a useful tool. It's like my most used tool on Notion for sure. And I just love it. I love how easy it is to navigate, how versatile it is. You can use it for academics, careers, extracurriculars. You can use it for work. If you're like doing private tutoring, you can use it to keep track of how many classes you're teaching and like you can share it with other people as well. Even if they don't have Notion, you can publish it as a web and they'll have consistent access to it. So Notion databases, I love. I cannot imagine my life without Notion databases. It's just amazing.
Yeah, definitely the database system. Like I think as students and also as like worky people, Vasavi and I both work like kind of corporate-y jobs. So managing, different calendars. I love Notion calendar. Vasavi is kind of sick of me talking about it, but I love a good content calendar and just like in our workshops that we teach people, like tracking applications or planning events and just like the flexibility of like linked views and filtering has made it such a go-to for not just like personal life, but also school life.
Agree. Notion calendar recently is my one of my favorites too, and I'm like, it's just the one of the missing pieces just completed. Like,
No, right? Yeah, I love it. I have so many different Google accounts that I have now just like linked, and it makes my life so much easier.
One thing I will say, I also love Notion Calendar, but I do wish the phone view and the
Yes.
mobile view was easier to navigate because I feel like whenever I use it on my phone, I'm like scrolling constantly, trying to
mhm.
get to the next week. But on my laptop, I can do that with like, I can see the entire full month schedule, but on mobile devices, I wish the Notion Calendar was a little more accessible to use.
That's a good take. Even though did you like rotate it and it was still kind of hard to manage, do you think?
It doesn't,
Yeah,
yeah, it's not really user-friendly on the phone.
Hmm.
yeah.
I think this is generally for Notion mobile view, I feel like because I realize I consume things on mobile when I'm using Notion on my phone. When
For
I'm
sure.
on desktop, I'm actually creating things that like I wanted
Yes.
to work on. I think that's pretty common for Notion people as far as I saw. That's a good take. Last question. Since you both are from the Notion Toronto community as well, but like included or excluded of the community, what would you wish that people would know about Notion?
I think very similar to what you mentioned, but Notion isn't just an online tool. It's a community. Notion Toronto community. It's a group of people who all share the common interest of loving Notion or wanting to get to know Notion and use Notion and incorporate that into their daily life. And that it's not just a website or like a software that you can download onto your laptop, but it's a group of people that enjoy that as well, and that there's a community behind it, and just Notion Toronto community, and the fact that Notion isn't just a software, but it's a community and it's a group of people.
Yeah, 1,000%. I think to add on to Vasavi, like you don't need to be like a techie, like quote unquote techie person to use it. I think a lot of people think Notion is, only for coders or the productivity pros. Like, it's really not. Like we use it. And I think like once you start small and find a system that really works for you, it can adapt to literally any lifestyle or workflow.
That's a good reminder, especially since we know that Vasavi created everything from scratch in the beginning. We know
Exactly.
that like you can do everything there, right? Like
Mhm.
you don't like there's always a starting point for anyone to just use it if that's matching with your needs.
Yeah, if I
That
can do it, anyone can.
If Vasavi and I can literally go to our university and preach about this software and talk about, a community and how it's actually not that difficult to use or like you can use it for your needs specifically, I think we're doing a service.
That's that's really cute to say that. But you are doing an amazing job. I remember Toronto Metropolitan University last year, if I'm not wrong, they got one of the highest signups for the Notion event, right? So
Yeah.
that shows that like you're doing an amazing job as a community and like obviously you're implementing Notion for like campus life as well, which is great.
Thank you. No, Notion is so loved in Toronto.
Yeah.
I feel that.
So loved.
I
Yeah.
feel that. Trona loves Notion for sure. Awesome. That's all questions. Thank you so much for both of you. It was really great to get the student's perspective and not just the student part, but also how you're starting your corporate life and how you prepare for it. Seeing both sides were amazing. Thank you so much. If you have any questions or recommendations, feel free to drop, or we can just say bye.
Sounds good to me.
Awesome.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.